Hi students, welcome to this online class. Today we are going to see about class 7 science chapter 12. The name of the lesson is reproduction in plants. Before we start our lesson, we need to know about what is meant by reproduction. All living organisms have a characteristic that they can produce their own kind. This production of the offspring from the parent is called reproduction. Producing their younger ones is known as reproduction, and this is a common character among all living organisms like human, plant, animal. Everything can reproduce their own kind. See, all animals can produce their own kind, the younger ones, and common in plants also. In plants, you are going to study in detail about in this lesson, and how do the reproduction occurs in the animals you will study in the upcoming classes. In 8th standard you will study about it. Let's start our lesson. Before we see about the reproduction in plants, we need to know which parts take place. So we are going to see now that the two kinds of part. First, vegetative part. These are the part of the plant that plays a major role in the life cycle of a plant, such as preparation of food, transportation of food, water and nutrients. For example, roots, stems and leaves. These are known as vegetative parts. Reproductive parts. These are the parts of a plant that play a major role in the reproduction process in plants. For example, flowers and fruits. So now you may have an idea on that. This reproductive parts only take place in the reproduction. Modes of reproduction in plants. Reproduction in plants can be categorized into two types. In the previous, after seeing the previous slide, you may think that only the reproductive part only takes place in the reproduction, but it's not exactly. Even the vegetative parts also do reproduction in some plants. Let's see in detail now. Asexual reproduction. The new plants are produced without using the seeds. The new plants are produced without using the seeds are known as asexual reproduction. In this process, generally the leaves, stems and roots participate in reproduction. The new plants are produced with the help of the seeds of a plant is known as sexual reproduction. In this process, the flowers of the plants participate in reproduction. If reproduction occur by the vegetative parts means that is asexual reproduction, which means without seed, and in the reproduction process if flower takes place means that is known as sexual reproduction. Next, different types of asexual reproduction, because in the asexual reproduction we have seen that leaves, stem are all takes place. So let's see that in detail. Vegetative propagation, which means the reproduction occur by this vegetative parts. As the name suggests, this type of reproduction takes place with the help of vegetative parts of a plant. Only one parent can produce the identical offspring in vegetative propagation. Plants that have a vegetative propagation by roots. Plants that have a tuberous roots, that is root which are used to storage organ in plants, participate in vegetative propagation. In order to grow new plants, these tuberous roots are sown in soil. There are buds present on the fruits that grow above the ground and a new plant is formed. For example, sweet potato. Yes, it is the tuberous root, which means we used to eat the root. This is the storage place of the plant that is known as tuberous root. Next, vegetative propagation by stem. Just like tuberous roots, some plants have tuberous stems. What's meant by tuberous stem? The stem is the food storage organ for the plant. that is known as tuberous stem. These stem tuberous store the nutrients and bear nodes. These nodes bear buds that form the new plants. For example, potato. You can see some eyes on the potato. If you not cook potato for a days means it occurs some eyes. From that eyes a bud will start to grow, and these eyes are known as vegetative propagation by stem, because the potato that we used to eat is stem of the plant. Next, runners. Some plants grow along the ground and contain modified stems called runners. These runners contain buds that can produce roots and stems. For example, strawberries. As you can see here, we can see this kind of runners now around us any grounds. A small plant will be there. If you try to pluck it means the continuous of the plant will be in different places, and it will be very hard to pluck everything. So those plants are known as runners, which means the original root will be in one place, but the stems will be modified and will be spread over a area. This is known as runners. Vegetative propagation by leaves. Some plants have leaves that contain buds that can develop into a new plant. For example, bryophyllum. Yes, this is the bryophyllum leaf, and each leaf has a buds on it, and each bud will produce the new leaf. So till now we have seen that natural ways of vegetative propagation. From the roots it will grow, from the stem it will grow, from the leaf itself it will grow. And next we are going to see the artificial means of vegetative propagation, which means we are going to add some work on it. First, cutting. It is a method in which a cutting from a plant is taken and planted. This cutting is a part of the stem or the branch of the plant. For example, roses. Yes, when you have a plant in table rose in your home, we can see that if you cut a stem and we fix it on the soil means it will start to grow as a new plant. We can give to others also. The table roses generally grow in this way, cutting. We can cut any part of a plant and we sown on the soil means it will start to grow. That is an example for this cutting method. Next, grafting. Sometimes two plants are joined together so that both of them can provide the desired characteristics to the new plant. One plant remains rooted in the ground, which is called stalk, and provides the essential nutrients and water, while the other plant stem is attached to it. In this way, new plant develops. For example, apples. This is a quite interesting method. At the root it will be one plant. For example, we can take tuberous roots. We can use tuberous roots, and stem will be attached by another plant. For just think a tuberous root like sweet potato. On the sweet potato plant, you just cut the stem, and if you fix the rose plant means what will happen? On the root it will be a sweet potato, and the work of root is what? It supplies the enough water and nutrients to the stem. From the stem it will grow as another plant. By this means, in a same plant we can get two different desired things. From the root we can get sweet potato, and from the stem or from the flower we can get our rose also. This method is known as grafting. You see here, the root which is remain ground is called stalk, and the new plant, the new stem of the plant we are going to graft it is known as scion. Initially these two things will be wrap and wax, and later get fixed with the plants. Spore formation. Some plants contain spores that float in the air and cause asexual reproduction. A spore has a hard protective cover which protects it from the unfavorable environmental conditions like temperature and humidity. As a result, the spores can travel long distance and survive for a long duration of time. As soon as they find favorable conditions such as moisture and nutrients, they germinate and form new plants. For example, moss and ferns propagate in this way. You can see the dandelions also. Dandelions also will propagate in this way. What are the advantages of it? They can produce the new plants with the help of seeds also. Then why do we need to follow this way? Because there are some advantages in it. What are the advantages? The plants that are produced with the vegetative propagation grow faster than those that are produced with sexual reproduction. Just think, you have to plant, you have to sow a seed, and seed has to grow as a bud, and then it has to grow as a plant. It will take some time, but instead of it, we can cut a branch of a plant and we fix on the soil, means it will start to grow immediately. So we can get flowers and fruits in a advanced time. The plants that reproduce with the vegetative reproduction have fruits and flowers ahead of time. We can get earlier. The plants that are produced have exactly the same characteristics as that of their parents. These are the advantages of vegetative propagation. Next, budding. Yeast is an organism that contains a single cell. It is a fungi, not a plant. It can propagate every few hours if the proper amount of nutrients are available to it. As the yeast finds favorable conditions, a small bulb-like projection produces from the yeast called bud, and the bud grows and it being detached from the parent cell. The bud grows gradually and then get detached from the parent yeast. This new cell then grows, measure, produces more cells, and sometimes a chain of buds is formed which leads to production of a large number of yeast altogether. And so this is a pictorial view of budding. Generally only one yeast will be there. From the yeast a bud will start to grow, and this bud will turns into a new yeast cell. From that, each yeast cell produces a new bud and produces new yeast cell. This also an asexual reproduction, because without using a seed or without fusion of two different yeast, it has been formed. Fragmentation. In the budding we have seen that a small projection will grow, but in the fragmentation it will be divided into two. A single cell will be divided into two. It is known as fragmentation. This is quite different from the budding. In the budding, a small bulb-like projection will project, but in the fragmentation it been divided. Algae like Spirogyra generally reproduce by the process of fragmentation, in which they divide themselves into multiple parts. As soon as the algae find enough water and nutrients, it fragments and grows into new individuals. This process continues and algae multiply quickly in short period of time. We can see this in a place where the water being stagnant. When you see a water stagnant in some place, then initially it will be in a colorless, or else it will be in the soil in color. But when it takes some time, the water will turn into green in color. Have you seen it? The green color is caused by this alga. This algae is the reason for it. When it find in the water, it start to spread over the water. It does the reproduction in a short period of time. That is why the whole water become green in color. See here, so initially a single algae will be there, and it been divided into two, and this 2 divides into 4 and 4 divides into 8. Like that it will be keep on continuous. Next, let's start to see about the sexual reproduction. The flowers of a plant are its reproductive organs. that participate in the sexual reproduction process. The male reproductive parts of a plant are called stamen and the female reproductive parts of a plant are called pistil. And now we know that flowers will take place in the sexual reproduction, and flowers has a male part and female part. And you can ask the question that whether all the plants have a male part and female part. No. Based on the reproductive part, we can classify them into two. Some flowers contain both stamen and pistil and are called bisexual flowers. For example, lily, rose, brinjal, hibiscus, petunia and mustard. Some flowers contain either the stamen, it is printed as a statement, but you study it as the stamen, or the pistil, and hence are called unisexual flowers. It has any one reproductive part means that is unisexual flower, and has a both reproductive part means that is known as bisexual flower. For example, papaya, watermelon, cucumber and coconut are the example for unisexual flower. The new plant produced contains the characteristics of both plants that participate in the sexual reproduction. The stamen consists of anther that has a pollen grains. These pollen grains produce male gametes. See here, this is the stamen, and the stamen has a two different part called filament and anther, and inside the anther pollen grains will be there, and this pollen grains is the male gametes, which means this is the male reproductive part. When it joins with the female reproductive parts, it forms a new plant. The pistil consists of three parts. First one is stigma. It is a sticky surface where pollen grains get attached. Next, style. It is a tube-like structure which connects the stigma and the ovary, the last ovary. It contains eggs in which the female gametes or eggs are formed. See, this is a stigma. On the stigma only the pollen grains has to be fall, and through the style it reaches the ovary. In the ovary, female eggs will be there. That is the place where male and female gametes will fusion together and forms a new plant. How the male gametes reach the female gametes? The male and female gametes fuse and forms a zygote. The male gametes reach the female gametes by the process of pollination. It reaches by the process of pollination. The pollen grains have a tough covering which allow them to survive in the different climatic conditions, and it has a very light weight. Due to their light weight, winds and water often carry them away to different plants. Sometimes the pollen grains also get attached to insects which carry them to different flowers. So it can be reached by the wind or water, and even sometimes it been distributed by the insects also. This process of transfer of pollen grains from one stigma to another is called pollination. And once the pollination process occurs means what could happen? These two male and female gametes get fused and it forms a zygote. Zygote means it's a baby. It's a baby of the plant. See here we have showed the image for the pollination from one plant. From male plant to it reaches the another plant's female part. This is the bisexual flower because it has a male reproductive part and female reproductive part also. And there could be a chance of in the bisexual flower. In the bisexual flower, it has both part. What could happen if it is fall on the same flower? Whether it been reproduced or not? Yes, it do the reproduction. But based on it, we can categorize the pollination into two types. First, self-pollination or autogamy. When the pollen grains land on the stigma of the same flower. If it is a bisexual flower, by chance, the male part of a flower will fall on the same flower's female part means that is known as self-pollination or autogamy. Not only the same flower, even the flower of the same plant. If a plant consists of 3 or 4 flower means by chance it is fallen from a first plant male part to a third flower female part means that is also known as self-pollination. The pollination which occurs in the plant, same plant is known as self-pollination or autogamy. And cross-pollination means it just vice versa. When the pollen grains land on the stigma of a different flower, whether of similar kind or different kind, is known as cross-pollination or xenogamy. Let's see, here is the image for that depicts the self and cross-pollination. Next, now the pollination has been occurred, the male gametes reaches the female gametes. Next, what will happen? A zygote is formed as the fusion between the male and female gamete occurs. This process of formation of the zygote is called fertilization. Then the zygote develops and turns in an embryo. Initially, a zygote, a baby will form, and then it keeps on growing as an embryo. And this process is known as fertilization process. See here, the pollen grain reaches to the ovary, and then these two pollen and ovary get fused and it forms a zygote. So we know that when the zygote is formed, an embryo will be grow, but whether the flowers can consist of seed, we have seen that sexual reproduction generally done with the seeds only, and but we know that flower doesn't consist of seed, only the fruits. Then how do the flowers will converted into fruits, and inside the fruit how do the seeds been placed? Let's see it. After the fertilization process, the ovary of the flower grows and develops into fruit. We have seen that inside the ovary only ovules will be there, and that ovules get fused with the pollen grains, and ovary is the place where it covers the zygote, and the ovary will turns into fruit, and inside the ovary the zygote will be there. The zygote is known as seed. Then what about the remaining parts of a flower? It will fall off. The ovules develop and form the seeds of the fruits. The embryo is enclosed inside the seeds. Some fruits are fleshy and juicy such as mango, apple, orange. Some fruits are hard like almonds and walnuts. The fruit that we are eating is the ovary of the flower, and this is how the fruits been formed, and inside the fruit seeds been placed. Now the fruit is ready and seed is also ready, but it has to be planted. We cannot do by picking each and every fruit and we can fix in the soil, but it has to be dispersed. What will be dispersed? Moving from one place to another place is known as dispersed. And the seed dispersal, we are going to see that how do the seed get dispersed from their parent plant to a new place. The transportation of seeds from the parent plant to different places is called seed dispersal. Seed dispersal generally done by the wind, water, and even by the birds. Then what is the use of it? Seed dispersal allows growth of the same kind of plant in a different regions. This is helpful because it minimizes the competition for food, sunlight, water, and minerals among the plants of the same kind in the same area, and it also allows them to grow in different habitats. These are some advantages of seed dispersal. What we have learned in this lesson? We have started with the definition of reproduction. Producing their own kind is known as reproduction, and this is common in all living organisms. And next we have seen about the vegetative parts and reproductive parts. Vegetative parts means the parts which help in their life cycle, and reproductive parts means the parts which help in the reproduction. Root, stem, leaves are the examples for vegetative parts, and flowers and fruits are the examples for reproductive parts. And then we have seen about seen the asexual reproduction. The reproduction that occurs without seed is known as asexual reproduction. In this we have seen vegetative propagation, budding and fragmentation. And then we have seen about the sexual reproduction, the reproduction that occurs by the seed. It has a male, it is done by the flowers, and flowers has a male reproductive part and female reproductive parts known as stamen and pistil. And then we have seen about the fertilization process. When the male gametes reaches the female gametes, the both will get fused and it forms as new zygote. To protect the zygote, the ovary will turns into a fruit. Inside the zygote only embryo will be there, and this helps to grow as a new plant. And then we have seen about the seed dispersal and its advantages also. Thank you all. We'll meet you in the next class.